Well, South Africa is reeling from the news of the passing of Nomakula Roberts, fondly known as Kuli Roberts. The media personality who was also a former television host, a fashion and a beauty journalist and an actress. Kuli, whose original place of birth was Cape Town, passed on Wednesday evening. The SABC joined many South Africans and extended its condolences and, of course, appreciation for her contribution to the entertainment industry. Kaya FM Managing Director Greg Maloka, where Kuli worked as a breakfast show co-host with the late Bob Mabena, joins us now to chat a little bit more about her. Greg, good to have you, not under these circumstances, but thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I can only imagine what your reaction was when you heard the news of her passing.
Yeah, it was really horrible. And I think maybe just to make a correction, we worked together at Kaya a few years ago. I myself haven't been there for a year, but we've worked quite a few years together with Bob as well. And when I heard the news, it was devastating, really.
Yeah,
quite a shocking surprise.
Yeah, I mean, when did you last see her?
We hadn't seen each other for a while. In fact, knowing that I was going to be talking to you this morning, I started going through some of the messages that we were exchanging. And, as you know, she was a very colorful character, and I think it was Tebe Galafren who summed it up nicely in his post on Instagram when he said, some loved you, some hated you, you were colorful, you were beautiful, you were dark, you were bright, so he kind of talked about all these contrasts. And we had that kind of moment, I think. And one of the last messages she had sent, in fact, the last message she had sent me was, can we just stop this nonsense and get together? I miss you. Can we just get on with the work? So it's really sad for me that it's been a while and we never got to really kind of reconnect like that. But I'm glad we had many years of beautiful memories.
Yeah, and it's you sum it up nicely because the Kuli I knew, every time I used to see her at functions or work events or especially socializing, Kuli was there. I mean, there was always a guarantee that Kuli was there. One of my fondest memories of her was I was very new to this industry, and you get invited to these functions, you don't really know anybody, and she was the first person who came bouncing up to me, took me under her arms, fell in love with my husband, and kind of just disappeared with the three of us, and we just had the time of our lives together. And and that was a very long time ago, and ever since then, those are the kind of memories that I have of Kuli, and just full of life. I mean, even when I was doing sort of State of the Nation addresses, it would be a very serious occasion, and there came Kuli, bringing in a whole new dimension. And she was, she just was a bundle of energy and fun. She really was. I can't imagine her not being that. I can't imagine her. I mean, we all describe her as full of life. She took over any environment. She was larger than life, really, and you could feel her presence. You almost sometimes were on the edge, because sometimes she would push that envelope quite hard. But that's what made her Kuli. That's what made her so unique and so lovable. It's just, it's insane to kind of have to, get to terms with the fact that you won't see that life anymore. Yeah.
I mean, quite a few deaths that I think, a lot of people have endured, but mainly some of our former colleagues at Kaya. I mean, if you think of Bob, you think of DJ Wendy, and I've traveled with them quite extensively. We've done a lot of really amazing work together, and it's just, it really hits hard.
It really does. And, amazingly, when the news started sinking into everybody and it was confirmed by the family and everybody started to believe that this is actually true and not a really bad rumor, it did happen. The photograph of Kuli and Bob just dominated social media, and, the talk of what a duo they were at Kaya FM. I mean, we had to say goodbye to Bob Mabena, which again landed on us like a ton of bricks. And now this just doing exactly the same thing. What were the two of them like to work alongside or to work with?
It was like handling a crate full of dynamite, you know. But you're in a safety suit, you know. Bob was always, you know, very calm, very calculated. You know, he was proper. You know, he, you know, kind of had a very organized way of himself, and Kuli was completely the opposite. And this is why we had put together that particular show, you know, to, you know, kind of show the many, you know, layers of, you know, of our listeners and our viewers eventually. You know, and we wanted to, you know, kind of hold a mirror to society, you know, and allow people to see themselves, you know, in these two characters who seemingly did not belong together. And when we added comedians in that space, it was almost like you know, one of the most unique environments that one would ever experience on radio. So to have both of them, Bob and Kuli, not walk this earth anymore is actually really very painful. And I will miss that duo. They were incredible. You know, I was, you know, watching some of their videos in the last few weeks as well. You know, and it was just incredible to watch them work together. I mean, her laughter in the studio, she would just laugh and fall under the desk and not be able to do a link. I mean, we took a decision at some point to say, okay, Kuli is not going to read any advertising because, you know, she sometimes just like never gets herself back, you know, because she's just having so much fun. So a really incredible loss.
Yeah, it really is just a bundle of fun. I mean, I would just, Kuli come running across the room and saying, "Babe, where you been?" You know, that's kind of Kuli. Just no rules. There were no rules. She didn't live by the rules.
She had Kuli rules, and that was why we loved her. She made up her own rules. And that's what made her such a unique character, you know, and like many contrasts. I mean, when she was hurting, you could tell, and the hurt would be deep, and you know, she would still try and make the next person feel great. But you know, I'm thankful that there were moments where, you know, we could be vulnerable to each other. You know, even though just in terms of roles, you know, one would say, well, you were the boss and you can't be vulnerable to. But she had a way of reaching out into you when she realized that you weren't your best, you know, at a particular point. And so, yeah, and then she just had a way of just rubbing you the wrong way. She was just, you know, she would drive you nuts. But I really am going to miss her. I mean, I think she was just one of the most colorful moments of our existence.
Yeah. You know, the thing is that as much as she, you know, was out in the entertainment and we all knew her, you know, in the public eye doing what she did, whether it was radio, television, writing, you know, doing all social columns, her journalism, doing whatever it was, you know, we knew her as being out there. But at the end of the day, there's a family behind the scenes and a very devastated family as well. I mean, left, as we saw from Has the Family put out a release saying, leaving 2 children, grandchildren, her siblings, her parents. I mean, it's a very, very big loss. Did you meet her children? Do you have any interaction with her children and grandchildren at all?
I mean, quite briefly with the children. You know, she, in many ways, was very private about her family, and I respected that because, you know, I've worked very closely with all the people that I used to work with at Kaya, and you know, I made it a point to try and learn as much as I could about, you know, people's families and where they came from and all of those things. And some people are private. And Kuli was one of those people. She had boundaries that you just had to respect. And you know, once in a while she would let you in, but generally she was very private about her family, and you know, and I respected that.
Yeah, indeed, and that's it's a very important thing, is to be able to know when you've got the social persona and when you're out there, but when you're home, that's the respect that you give to your family. I suppose at this point we don't know much about the process forward. I imagine the family, as they said in the release that they sent out yesterday, that they need privacy, they need time to come to terms what has happened, but no news in terms of memorials or when she'll be laid to rest, nothing like that you're aware of?
Not at this stage, no. And I guess all of us will take direction from the family.
Indeed. From Kaya's side, is Kaya FM going to do anything to remember her and perhaps celebrate the times that she was at the station?
I hope that happens. Like I said, I haven't been with Kaya for over a year now.
Yeah.
But knowing the people that understood her work, I'm guessing something pretty special will happen. There's quite a lot of material of her, at Kaya that would make for a really fantastic remembrance, and I hope that happens.
Certainly. All right. Greg, thank you. Thank you so very, very much for joining us here on the program.
Thank you. Have a great morning.
Yeah, and take care. It's not an easy conversation. It never is, to have this conversation about somebody that you loved and lost, and I suppose not reconnecting when you could have. Greg Maloka talking to us, worked with Kuli when she was at the breakfast show, and of course he was at Kai FM at the time. She was co-presenting with the late Bob Mabena. So just very, very sad, and of course condolences from all of us here at the SABC to Kuli Roberts and to her family that she's left behind. Most importantly, may God give you the strength to work through this very, very difficult time.